Jose Rizal, the great national hero of the Philippines. On June 19, 1861, Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda was born in Calamba in the Philippines, Laguna Province. At the early age of 3, the future political leader had already learned the English alphabet, and by the age of 5, Jose could already read and write. A brilliant student who became proficient in multiple languages, Jose Rizal studied medicine in Manila. In 1882, he traveled to Spain to complete his medical degree. While in Europe, Jose Rizal became part of the propaganda movement, connecting with other Filipinos who wanted reform. He also wrote his first novel, Noli Me Tangere, a work that detailed the dark aspect of Spain's colonial rule in the Philippines, with particular focus on the rule of Catholic friars. The book was banned in the Philippines, though copies were smuggled in. Because of this novel, Rizal's return to the Philippines in 1887 was cut short when he was targeted by police. Rizal had been very vocal against the Spanish government, but in peaceful and progressive manner. For him, the pen was mightier than the sword. While in Barcelona, Rizal contributed essays, poems, allegories, and editorials to the Spanish newspaper, La Solidaridad. Most of his writings, both in his essays and editorials, centered on individual rights and freedom, specifically for the Filipino people. As part of his reforms, he even called for the inclusion of the Philippines to become a province of Spain. But among his best works, two novels stood out from the rest, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Both novels, Rizal harshly criticized the Spanish colonial rule in the country and exposed the ills of the Philippine society at the time. And because he wrote about the injustices and brutalities of the Spaniards in the country, the authorities banned Filipinos from reading the controversial books. Yet, they were not able to ban it completely. As more Filipinos read the books, their eyes opened the truth that they were suffering unspeakable abuses at the hands of the friars. Upon his return to the Philippines, Rizal formed a progressive organization called the La Liga Filipina. The civic movement advocated social reforms through legal means. Now Rizal was considered even more of a threat by the Spanish authorities, which ultimately led to his exile in the Pitan, northern Mindanao. This, however, did not stop him from continuing his plans for reform. While in the Pitan, Rizal built a school, hospital, and water system. He also taught farming and worked on agriculture projects such as using abaca to make wraps. In 1896, Rizal was granted leave by then-Governor General Blanco after volunteering to travel to Cuba to serve as a doctor to yellow fever victims. But at that time, the Katipunan had a full-blown revolution and Rizal was accused of being associated with a secret militant society. On his way to Cuba, he was arrested in Barcelona and sent back to Manila to stand for trial before the court-martial. Rizal was charged with sedition, conspiracy, and rebellion and therefore sentenced to death by firing squad. Days before his execution, Rizal bade farewell to his motherland and countrymen through one of his final letters entitled Mi Ultimo Adios, or My Last Farewell. Dr. Jose Rizal was executed on the morning of December 30, 1896 in that was then called Bagumbayan, now referred to as Luneta. Upon hearing the command to shoot him, he faced the squad and uttered in his final breath, "It is finished." According to historical accounts, only one bullet ended the life of the Filipino martyr and hero. Today, Dr. Rizal's brilliance, compassion, courage, and patriotism are greatly remembered and recognized by the Filipino people. His two novels are continuously being analyzed by students and professionals. Rizal may have died on December 30, 1896 at the tender age of 35, but much more of him than his remains in Rizal Park lies in the hearts of Filipinos. He inspired the independence movement because he provided a mirror to the sick colonial society that Filipinas had become as a result of Spanish colonization. I am Langin Rosaya M. BS Ed 4.